Today I'm going to talk to you about something very specific. I'm sorry if I don't look very joyful. I was supposed to do my video yesterday evening, but I couldn't. You know, after what happened in Nice in France, I'm still in shock, and I don't manage to understand the information, because for me it's something that I couldn't even imagine in my worst nightmare. It's awful. Anyway, I was almost going to give up the video for this week, but then I thought, no, if I do that, it means that they win, you know. They must not prevent us to live our life, and I still want to talk about something, so let's just be grateful to be alive first. Second, so minimalism, I don't know how minimalism we say in French. I told in many videos that Mark Hollis, for Spirit of Eden and also for Laughing Stock and the Mark Hollis solo album, it's very well explained in the Phill Brown's book, was actually recording a lot of stuff played by musicians who were more or less improvising on something which was given to them. And then Mark Hollis with Tim Freeze Green were taking a small part of what they were playing, if they did, because sometimes they took nothing, and placing this small part, which was according to them the best, in specific places which was not automatically the place where they were intended originally. So it's like almost a mosaic or a collage, where you took a small piece of paper and you glue it here and here. I was fascinated by that. I thought it's really the work that we do when we gather small things together, and it makes a piece of art which is completely different from what it could have been originally. And I was fascinated by this aspect, because myself in art I create a little sometimes by this way, and it was funny to see it translated in music. I'm sorry if there is too much noise between the fan and the street. I decided to do my video in the day, but it's much more noisy, and without the fan I really can't make it. It's really too hot. Anyway, I continue. But then, while I was doing my videos and I was editing, because it's some work of editing what I'm talking about, I realized at a point that I was doing, of course much less well, by some way I was doing exactly what Mark Hollis was doing on those albums. Which means, for example, I talk right now, I'm going to edit this video. So for example, I'm talking and I make a mistake by talking, or I repeat a sentence several times without realizing it, you know, or I say something stupid, and when I listen to me, I'm like, what am I talking about? It's ridiculous, you know, or I think that's what I'm saying is irrelevant or not interesting, and I remove a lot, which means that my videos can be already a little long, but if I was removing nothing, it would be much longer. Also, I try to avoid to leave some spaces between what I'm saying, because then it makes the video more boring and you could fall asleep in front of me. I don't want that. So I try to make it not too fast, but fast enough to keep you awakened. Sometimes I have even to remove things because I made a mistake by speaking in English, and you wouldn't be able to understand what I'm saying. So I have to remove, which is a pity, because sometimes I'm saying something interesting, but it's the way I'm saying it which is bad. So I remove a lot. When there is some music on the top of that, it's even more complicated, because then I must choose the music, where to put it, what part, especially when it's famous music, for example, like the artwork. When I make a video about the artwork, we are playing famous musics, and I can't play the whole piece completely, because for royalties concern I'm not allowed to do it, so I have to keep small pieces, but I also want to keep the pieces where David Schroeder plays really well on them, so I try to keep the best, and I try to build my video like that. It's kind of it's complicated, because I must think of different elements and try to keep the best. So sometimes for the music the best is here, but for what we are seeing the best is here, or the part of the music that I like the best, it's there. So I have to compromise and to find the best combination, I would say. Of course, it's not in the same way as Mark Hollis was doing his albums, because in his albums he was allowed to keep any piece. It's his creation, so he can do whatever he wants, and he was only trying to keep the best. Sometimes the best is not automatically the most understandable. I mean, sometimes I can say something by a certain way, which is the best way to say it, but in the same time I'm not sure you are going to understand, because I don't pronounce well. So when I repeat it to be sure that you understand well, then my tone, my way of saying it is not as spontaneous, it's not as good. So I actually have to take you more in consideration than me. But the work by itself, the way to do it, is kind of similar. And even the other day, there was a word that I didn't pronounce well at a place, but I pronounced it again a little later. So I took the place where I pronounced it well and I put it back in another place where it was not there. But in the same time, the editing must not be too visible, because then you are going to think, what is that, or what are all these images jumping all around. So it has to be well done. And suddenly I realized that not only I was doing the kind of job as Mark Hollis did on his albums, even if it's not in the same spirit exactly, but also I was removing, and more I am editing my videos, more I'm removing. At a point I'm wondering if something is going to remain, because if I continue removing like that, there will be nothing left, you know. I think we become more and more harsh with time. When I watch my videos at the beginning, I want to remove everything. But in the same time, it's funny because it's spontaneous, it's not very well done, and I will probably progress. Maybe the videos I'm doing now will be awful for me in several years, it's possible. But anyway, all that to say that I have more and more a minimalist approach in my videos. And I try to apply that in my life too. You are not going to believe me, but I am minimalist in my soul, because I remember, as far as I can remember, maybe I was 9 or 10 years old when I asked my mother to stop buying clothing for me. She was always buying stuff that I don't always like, and I thought that I had too much. I didn't have too much, but for me, I thought it was too much, and I asked her not to buy clothing for me during 1 year. And she told me, oh, you will never be able to wait 1 year before having something new. And I said, yes, I will. And I managed to wait 1 year without buying something new, which was kind of difficult because I was growing. and all my stuff was not fitting me anymore. I have pictures of me when I think I was 10 or 11, something like that, when I'm wearing a dress, a mini dress. It was a mini dress originally, but at the end it was not a dress anymore for me. It was a tunic, you know. We could see my panties underneath, but I still wanted to wear it so much. I loved this dress. And chiefly, I didn't want my mother to buy something new for me. So I've been wearing clothing which were much too small for me. I was very happy like that. Now my situation is totally different. I don't have the means to buy a lot of stuff for myself. Actually, when I pay something, it's more my bills and urgent things that I have to pay, like taxes or things like that. And I don't buy much for me. I buy only if it's on sale, if it's a sale on a sale, and if I really need what I want to buy. For example, this thing is new. I think that I paid it $7, but you know, it's because I have holes in all my tops, and I really need sometimes to look like something in front of the camera. Otherwise you are going to see me with t-shirts with paint stain and holes and things like that. But I basically never buy anything. I don't like to buy stuff because I don't want to add more in my house, because I have too much in my house. When I arrived here, I had nothing because everything was still in France. So I had to buy the essentials, like my bed, a table, a chair, you know. I had nothing. When I arrived in my apartment, my ex-apartment, the first time here, I was sitting on the floor. I had nothing. I didn't have even a chair. Then I moved all my stuff from France here, so I started having things in double. I had to get rid of a few things. Then I have all my stuff from my store. I moved my store lately, but the store that I had before was much bigger. So there is a lot of things that I can put in my new space that I have in my house. My house is like a warehouse almost. Then a friend of mine, Ron, lost his mother, and he asked me to sell part of his mother's stuff. So I have a lot of Ron's mother's stuff in my house that I didn't sell yet. It's incredible how much we accumulate and accumulate in life. It's crazy. So I've been interested more and more in minimalism. I read this book. I suppose you know it. Everybody knows that. It's Marie Kondo, her book. Nothing original. Everybody talks about this book on YouTube. You know, I have this book since, I don't know, 6 months, 1 year now. I love this book. I'm trying to start applying what I'm learning. And I really saw a link between what I admire the most in Mark Hollis' way of working and my interest in this way of living. I don't show you my house because I have way too much stuff, way too much, and I plan to reduce a lot, to get rid of stuff, to give away, to sell. I give very often to the Epilepsy Foundation because they come to pick it up, so every time I want to get rid of something which can be usable, of course, I put it in a box ready for them, and they come about almost every month to pick up stuff, but it's not enough. Anyway, I was reading, I don't remember where I read that, maybe on, I think that I read that on Snow in Berlin. Mark Hollis used to have a room where he was composing, which was basically empty, with walls painted in orange. Why orange? Because orange is the color which is the most inspiring. That's what we say. I would love to have a room like that, empty, not especially painted in orange, though it must be great. Actually, it must be very interesting. I would be curious to see that. But it's difficult for me because I do a lot of collage and I recycle a lot, and I keep a lot of stuff that I find in the street and which are not supposed to be in a house usually, but which could be useful for me for what I'm doing. It's very difficult for me to sort things, to get rid of stuff, because I love a lot of things. I love beautiful things. The problem is that when you have too much beautiful things, you can't appreciate them anymore because you don't see them anymore. So you have to be really harsh on yourself when you are sorting your stuff. So I'm far away from Mark Hollis right now by what I'm saying, but actually I'm not so much. I think there is a link in reducing, editing, removing, practicing minimalism, sorting, cleaning, decluttering. Everything is linked. If it's not in art, it's in your clothing. If it's not in your clothing, it's in your home. It can be in your mind. It can be on your computer. I'm watching videos made by a young woman who lives in Australia, Sugar Mama. I will put the link below. You will see she makes a lot of videos about minimalism, but also about how to manage your money and things like that. And what she's saying is very interesting. When you remove a lot of things, when you keep just what you love the most, the best, you must also think of a better way to manage your money, because the problem starts when you don't spend your money by a clever way, when you spend on things which are not useful or which are not things that you really love. You know, some people spend money because they need that to feel better, but then they regret what they have purchased. So I speak of a lot of different things right now. I have to stop my video. I can talk forever like that. But I want you to think about that. Where could you reduce what you have? Where could you remove stuff in your life, in your home, in your mind, on your videos, in your art? You know, minimalism, it's not only removing, it's also reaching for the best and trying to do always the best. Going to what is the top and keeping only what is the top. That's the point, to have a better quality of life. I'm not qualified right now to give lessons to other people because I must start by myself. You know, I hate living like that. I hate that. My sons wouldn't believe me because I think the mess started in my life once I had my sons, because of the toys, because I had less time to clean, to sort. But when I was a child, I was cleaning and sorting all the time. It's really weird how we change in life, but because it's forced on us somehow. But now my children are grown up, so I don't have any more excuses. So that's basically what I'm going to do during 1.5 years before I'm supposed to ask for my next extension of stay, if I do it, which is not sure at all. I don't know yet. There is a lot of things to sort out, to think about and to manage. So that was my thoughts of the week. I highly recommend this book. It's very easy to read. I already read it twice and I'm going to read it a third time. The only thing that I applied, because you must not just read it and do nothing, of course the point is to apply that in your life. The only thing that I did so far is in my drawers. I fold my stuff like she said, and I already started sorting my clothing, so I gave away a lot, and I must redo it because I always find things that I'm not wearing and that I don't need in my drawers or hanging there. Her way of folding stuff in the drawers is excellent. Since I tried that, I can't go back to how I was before. It's so convenient, it's so much better. I'm wearing so much more of my stuff now that I can actually visualize and see what I have. And it's easier also to sort and to get rid of what you don't need. You can't imagine how much I gave already. I recommend this book. It's not only because it's commercial and everybody's talking about it, you know, everybody's talking about it because it's an excellent book, and it's small, it doesn't take a lot of space. That is a book that I will never give away because it's like a Bible. I recommend it, really. It's not to do like everybody, it's because it's really good. So when you have something really good like that, you must talk about it. I'm not sponsored by the author or by the publisher to do that. I'm only talking about what I love the most. If one day someone is asking me to talk about something, I will have first to try it or to read it or whatever it is. I will have to experience it before I talk about it, and I will say the truth, what I think about it. If I don't like it, I will say it, and I will tell you that I've been asked to talk about it. You will be the first ones to know. I recommend that also you read the Phill Brown's book, where it's very well explained how Spirit of Eden, Laughingstock and the Mark Hollis solo album have been made. It's really very interesting. I would have loved to be there in the studio to see that. I regret. I really hope that one day Mark Hollis will record an album again, and that maybe one day I will have the opportunity to see him working. I doubt that I will be around, because when you are creating, you don't want people to be around to watch you, but I can always dream. Okay, see you very soon. Bye bye.